It's been a little tough. I do the cooking now. I didn't really cook before, and I'm not a great cook, but I,
What does grandma say? Does she eat it?
for the most part, I've had a lot of moments where I was like, all right, I'm, going to break down, stop all my, lazy antics and whatnot. But this was the time that I guess I was kind of forced into it.
Welcome to The Narrative, a podcast of untold stories, a place where silence is broken, secrets are unearthed, and stories find their voice. I'm Dr. Crystal Ann England, therapist, storyteller, and your guide for healing through truth. From intergenerational wisdom to identity, race, purpose, and power, this is a sacred space for the stories we were never taught to tell, but always needed to hear. Because healing begins when our stories are spoken. Welcome to the podcast. This is The Narrative, a podcast of untold stories. My name is Dr. Crystal Ann England, and this is
Isaiah Brutus, and I am the owner of Boosted Branding, a digital marketing agency, and just came here to have a conversation.
Yes. So wait, Isaiah, tell the people about, so there's a difference between what you do versus who you are.
Great, yeah.
So what is it that you do?
What I do is kind of just, help brands grow through, all the various different marketing strategies there are now, like social media, paid ads, stuff like that. But I just like, helping people grow their brands and stuff like that. So that's kind of one enjoyable part for me. And I really like the creative aspect of it. I kind of get bored of doing the same thing all the time. So that's a little bit of both sides, but I guess more on my enjoyment. I like going outdoors, doing a lot of outdoor sports and stuff like that. So, just enjoy being alive, really.
Enjoy being alive. Yes. So wait, how long have you been doing brand? Well, what do you call it?
Branding is what I would like to say. I always end up going marketing, but definitely branding.
Why do you end up going marketing?
Marketing is just the original term for it.
Okay.
And branding, I think, is a better thing. Yeah. Marketing is just one aspect, but branding just sounds nicer. Marketing sounds like an evil word to a lot of business owners.
Yes. I mean, because when I think of branding, I'm like, oh, this is something I can use. Whereas when you say marketing, I just think it feels so big that, for example, my little entrepreneur business of one person, I wouldn't hire someone to do my marketing, but I would hire a branding person, right? Because it feels more, it doesn't feel as grand, right?
And that's marketing.
You see? So I'm curious though. First of all, I guess because I'm forgetting that people don't know your story, right? So what did you used to do prior to marketing, aka branding?
I worked at a contact lens factory, actually kind of pretty close to here, but I worked at a contact lens factory overnight for 12 hours, 6:30 to 6:30 basically. And job wise, it wasn't the hardest thing. It was pretty easy to do, but mentally it ruins you.
12? Wait, 6:30 to 6:30, so 12 hours.
Yeah. It was only 4 or 5 days a week, which isn't insane, but it hurts sometimes.
So when did you know that it was time for you to pivot?
Really a long time before that, honestly. But the point where I actually did start pivoting was after I had been there. And when I started working there, I told myself, oh, I'm only going to work here for a year and then I'm going to chase my dreams or whatever.
Don't we always say that? Oh, I'm only here for a year. And 10 years later.
4 years later, I was still there after 4 years. But I finally just broke. I don't know. I was more in a down place and was just like, all right, I got to do something. I mean, it's my dreams. Why am I not working on it normally? So I went 4.
Yeah, only 4. Got 10. But something I always say is that when we are not living our full passions, purpose, the break comes, and sometimes it comes multiple times for people, right? And the great thing about it is that if you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, and again, going back to like micro versus macro, right? Sometimes we think that we're here to like, I'm supposed to change the world. But changing the world could literally be branding.
Yeah.
Going around and helping small businesses discover their branding voice. Like, what is their voice?
Yeah.
And that can be your purpose. It doesn't have to be this thing where it's like, are you going to school to be a lawyer?
Yeah.
And fight corruption? Or are you going to school to be a nurse and save all the people? No, but I am a brand marketer. Is that a thing?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I help people in their businesses find their voices.
I like that aspect too, because and if you really think about it, you can change someone's world for them. And I mean, in their aspect, that world's completely changed. So it's not about affecting everybody, but it's about affecting who you're around, I guess.
Yeah.
You know?
But I think the biggest thing is what you bring, right? So the way that you show up and the way that you bring that thing, because there's, I'm sure, tons of other people who do branding or marketing, but they're not Isaiah, right? Like they're not going to have your eye. You can say, wait a minute, I see this thing in you. Do you mind if I get it? Do you mind if I like help you draw it out? And I think that's also the beauty is that lots of people can do the same thing, but everyone is going to have their own vision, their own lane. So what do you think it is about you that makes you the kind of branding person? I mean, I want to go beyond just profession, right? If we're talking about you as a person, what do you think you bring?
For me, it feels like my own creativity. I mean, everyone's got their own creativity. Some people are a lot better than certain things than I am, but I think that's what makes every person unique, you know, just being able to bring what they have to the table, and depends on each person, but it shows their ethics, their work ethic and stuff like that. So some people can be artistic, but not really apply it.
Absolutely. But I feel like, you know, in the short time that we've met, Isaiah and I met at, what was it, Gwinnett, the Black...
Yeah, it was a networking event. I can't remember what the name was.
Yeah, I think it was like the Black City Council of Gwinnett or something, right? And we were able to work together on my branding stuff. And in that short time, even just witnessing the work that you have done for yourself and the strides that you made on your own platform, in your own work, on your TikTok, on your Instagram, you've grown so much creatively. What do you think it is that allows you, when you're in that creative mode, like what fuels your creativity?
I think, you know, just being able to enjoy what you do. I mean, I don't always enjoy, you know, like making content and stuff like that. Some days I just don't want to be on camera, and that's kind of something I learned from you is perseverance. I mean, like you post all the time, and I'm sure you go through your ups and downs through life as everyone does. And, you know, being able to keep doing it, and then you run back into those times where you're like, okay, I like doing this. This is something I enjoy. You realize, oh, okay. I mean, you might have your downs, but you did go through ups as well, and you got to look back at that. So
I think it's so funny that you're saying that, Isaiah, because for me, when I see you, I'm like, he posts every day and he's going with it. So, you know, like if he can find it, I can find it. So it's interesting to hear you say that you look to me and say, well, she posts every day and she's posting all the...
Every time I open TikTok, I see one of yours. So you do it saying right.
I love that, because I didn't really need to hear this. So often we feel like we're looking to other people, but little do we know that other people are also looking to us. And I think like that's the beauty of being a creative person, is that creatives are always looking at each other, right? Of like, and we're even though we're not aware of it, we're helping each other. Like, come on, keep going, keep going, right? And I love that. I love that, because again, here I am, like, Isaiah's posting all the time. This is all so cool, and I gotta keep going. Let's switch gears a little bit. When you think about your future, again, aside from business, what do you see for yourself?
Big scheme of things? I mean, hopefully not long term. I'd much rather short term, but, you know, just being able to enjoy what I enjoy in life. I mean, I had talked about going outdoors and stuff like that, but another big thing for me is, you know, my family and all that. But I feel like I haven't been able to put the time I actually want to towards, you know, being around my family and stuff like that as I really should. But I'm looking towards it every day. That's the whole point. But ultimately, that's my goal: hanging out with family, friends.
But what stops you? What do you think it is that stops you from being able to live that life that you want, where you're spending lots of time with family and friends?
Not being able to do it exactly how I want, I guess. I wouldn't say I'm incapable of doing that now, because I definitely could, but to accurately enjoy everything, like if I wanted to go, I don't know, ride bikes with friends, and some of my friends don't have bikes, I can't rent out a bike or buy a bike for them like I would want to.
Yeah.
I think that's my issue. I would like to do these things, but the aspects of life that are a little bit hard make it so I'm like, all right, I got to do some things to achieve this.
Because we have no control over it. Yeah. But like whether or not our friends can afford certain things that we can afford it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I know recently you went to Japan.
Yeah.
And
it was great.
Was that a bucket list item? What was that like?
Yeah. I've watched some like Japanese anime since I've been growing up, and I'm into cars, so the Japanese car culture is huge over there. And really, a lot of things I personally enjoy are just there. Like they have a lot of outdoor sports that are really popular there. Rock climbing's huge there. I love rock climbing.
You're a rock climber.
So really, everything in Japan is made for me.
So do you see a future of possibly living in Japan ever? For a stint?
Maybe a stint. Oh, yeah, I definitely would for a stint, but that same aspect of not being able to be with my family and friends all the time kind of cuts into that. So it's a yes, I really want to, but really, would I is also the question.
And that flight, people probably have a really hard time taking that flight, right? Like,
oh yeah, that was a real hard 13 hours.
Yeah.
Not to mention the flight to we went to Ontario, somewhere in Canada.
Yeah.
And then the 13-hour flight after that.
Did you wear compression socks?
No, are you supposed to?
I'm showing my age, I think. The old people have to wear compression socks on 13-hour flights, okay? Yes, because we'll catch a clock. I'm just so about whole age, Lord.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yes.
This is the first time I bought a neck pillow ever. Normally,
Really?
I flew a lot when I was a kid. I would fly between Florida and Georgia because I did the...
Who's in Florida?
Well, I was in Florida with my mom, but my dad still lived up here, so we would do the... I forget what it's called. Dependency and all the flights. And so I flew a lot as a kid, and no pillows. I just knock out like...
Yeah, and wake up with the crick neck.
Yeah, it's like, I'm used to it.
Yeah.
That's one of my superpowers, though. I can fall asleep on a flight before takeoff almost every time.
Really? And then when do you wake up? Like, when do you get there?
Most of the time, not on a 13-hour flight, though.
What a superpower to have.
Yeah, that's amazing, honestly.
That is amazing. Most people have to take drugs for that. And you get to do that just...
all the time. I'm just me.
When you think about, Isaiah, when you say family and friends, for your future, do you want a family? Do you want kids? And I feel like nowadays, back in the day, that was everybody's aspiration.
Yeah.
But now, things have changed. Yeah. That's not everybody's aspiration. Like, is that an aspiration for you?
I eventually want, a whole family, kids and everything, but I'm chasing my goals first. Yeah. I don't think I'll be able to, do all the sports I really enjoy doing with a family, because I'm gonna have some empathy towards my children. I don't want them to grow up without a father, but
yeah.
I do whitewater kayaking, I do rock climbing. I
want you rack to your back, like rock climbing.
That'd be sick.
Kayaking, right?
That'd be really cool. I don't know.
There are actually videos out there with little kids who know how to do all this.
I've seen some crazy children rock climbers there.
They're really good.
They're monkeys.
They're little hands. You're like, how? Because they can fit in the crevices, right? Mm-hmm. But I hear you. Something I always say is I don't think that young people, and this is my own bias, I don't think that people should get married before 30. And even after that, I think you should take your time because, it's amazing. It's incredible to be a parent. I wouldn't change it for the world, but I traveled the world before I did.
Yeah.
Right?
That's what I'd like to do.
Yes. I had a whole other life before I had kids. And so when I had children, I don't feel like I'm missing out. Yeah. I went
and partied and have fun and traveled and did all those things. So I love that you're being intentional. I think that that's the difference between the generations before, even for like our parents, they just kind of had kids because that's what you expected to do. There wasn't much intention.
Fair.
And so I love that you are intentionally saying, like, yeah, I would like to have these things, but first,
Yeah.
let's,
Yeah. And that's the ultimate goal. I mean, as for what happens, we'll see, but I pray I don't. Yes.
Yeah.
All right now, please.
Not right now. So tell me, I know you've mentioned to me that you live in South Georgia, or did you move in North Carolina?
So we do a bit of both. We do 6 months South Georgia, 6 months in North Carolina, and that's what she's done since I've been a kid. So I moved in with her after my grandpa passed, and just to help her out.
Yeah.
She doesn't really drive anymore, so it's just nice to be able to help out. And in turn, I also use it as that point to really start chasing my dreams. Like I talked about, that breaking point, in a way, was also positive in its own sense, to where I was leaving that job that I was afraid to leave.
Yeah.
The job I already hated. I should have left 4 years before that, to really start being able to chase my dreams a little bit more. I mean, I still have to, work a normal job and everything like that. So I get a little more time to, focus on my own stuff. So, and help her out.
Yeah.
Which is the greatest part.
I love that you have, and clearly it's obvious, Isaiah, that family is really important to you. The fact that that's something that you have brought up, and you said that you wish you had more time, but also the fact that you've been able to make time to help out with grandma. And I'm also wondering, though, because taking care of anyone, even for our own themselves, is hard.
Yeah.
Right? So caring for or helping out, even with, grandma, I guess we would say caregiving, even that had its own challenges too, right? Of thinking about, okay, wait, I can't be gone too long. I have to make sure she has medicine or real food or whatever she needs. What has that been like too, of being a caregiver?
It's been a little tough. I do the cooking now. I didn't really cook before, and I'm not a great cook, but
What does grandma say? Does she eat it?
For the most part, most of the time. But for the most part, I mean, she's already got her systems. Like I said, she's been, back and forth from there in North Carolina for a long time now. So it's been mostly relaxed. I haven't had too many oh man, this is a lot harder than I expected or anything like that. So I like it. I enjoy.
And what has it taught you about aging? I mean, to be able to watch for,
That's one of the tougher things. It's just it makes me realize that I do need to work harder as well, because for example, we're going through a lot of not renovation. We got a lot of water damage basically. So we're dealing with that right now, which is a big expense. And I mean, if you're not financially caught up to where you want to be when you're at that age, I mean, how do you afford some of these things?
Yeah, you just live with mold.
Yeah, which is,
and then makes you sick, and
exactly, and that's terrifying.
Yeah,
and I don't want to be in that position, and I don't really enjoy that. I know we're not in that position heavily where she can't afford it or anything like that, but it's still oh, okay, this could be a very big problem.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, who knows what'll happen in the next 5 years?
Are you the only one, or do your siblings help out? And how might that affect the future too? If you wanted to, let's say you found a really great branding opportunity here, would you be able to move, or would you feel that guilt of oh my goodness, I don't want to leave grandma. Who else is going to take care of her?
It's a tough one, and I think she's pretty supportive of the things I need to do and stuff like that. So she's not gonna necessarily limit me on anything like that, as long as it's not, if there was something here, this is a little out of my range. So it depends, I guess. I couldn't come down here every other day or something like that. That could be an issue I haven't ran into yet. We'll have to see when it happens.
Yeah, and it might not, because maybe but I guess I'm asking the question because I think a lot of times in life, we make sacrifices for our family, for the people that we love, and those sacrifices, not that we want congratulations, you are the best grandson ever, right? Like, yeah, you don't need that in a show. You don't want that. But
It'd be nice.
an acknowledgement. I mean, we're humans. Let's be honest, right? Y'all like a nice little tap on the back. I see that you're such a great boy. I love you, right? But I think that it's just one of those things of when you have family, and it goes back to what you were saying earlier, right? It's so important that you take your time and not rush into having a family, because if you do, you'll have a lot more of the sacrifices.
Yeah.
So then when you think about some of the times in your life, like the time you talked about, that time that was a little bit dark, when you were transitioning out of that job, would you say that was one of like the most pivotal moment in your life where you had to come make a decision of, do I stay and jump in a ditch of soul crushing nothingness, or do I walk away?
Yeah. I would say it is probably one of the most pivotal points in my life. I've had a lot of moments where I was like, all right, I'm, going to break down, stop all my, lazy antics and whatnot. But this was the time that I guess I was kind of forced into it. A way I kind of like to tell people, a way to learn is, to spend a little bit of money on it, because then it becomes an investment. And then you're like, okay, it's an investment. I have to actually put some effort towards this, or I'm, losing its value. So I would, in a way, but moving in with my grandma was forcing that hand. Is like, okay, now I have to do it, or I just jumped into that despair pit, basically. So if you jump into it knowing, all right, all I can do is build myself out of this pit, then it's okay.
Yes. I think sometimes if we're depending on ourselves to get out, it's a lot harder. But when other people are depending on us, we find a way of like, okay, there's no choice, right? Like, Gary needs me.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
So I got to get up. Yeah, I got to do things. There's things to do. Yeah, right? Because now more than one person is depending on you. It's not just you. When you think about like the last time that you stepped outside of your comfort zone, can you think of a time recently when you stepped outside of that comfort zone to really just kind of do something new?
In a way, yes, I could say some stuff recently, but I would actually most cut it back to actually when I first met you. You may not have been there at that time. I don't know if you left early or not, but they had a part where we were at a networking event, just to explain to the podcast viewers. We were at a networking event, and I was, it was already a big step for me to go there and meet people. Just talking. I'm not a big socialite or anything. So
Hold on. Can we just pause for the people?
Yeah.
So Isaiah says that he's not a big socialite and all the things. However, when you guys go and look at his boosted branded, right, social media pages, you will see that this man has videos, tons and tons of videos with him being funny, jumping out of trees, doing all these things. But he's, never mind you, he doesn't like to be in the spotlight.
Yeah, I'll do it when it's me. It's not in person, It's just me. But no, I want to, get into that flow of, just being able to do it. It may not be something I necessarily enjoy doing, although there's a lot of good moments and stuff, so I can't really say that either. But I went and just stepped out of my comfort zone to go do that. But then even more, and this is to the part I was saying you weren't, you might not have been there, I can't remember, but there was a part where they were basically handing the microphone to everybody, so they could, just kind of speak about their business and stuff. And I'm just sitting there minding my own business, like kind of lollygagging, just listening along. And then you're like, this young man, blah, 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 and handed me the mic. And I froze. I mean, I talked about my stuff and whatever, but oh my goodness, I was sweating 3 seconds into it, and but
you did great. I remember, because I was like, oh, because you came a little bit late, and then when she introduced and she was like, this is Isaiah, and he came before last time for first half, so
that's
now he
what
came
it
the
was.
second half. Yeah, like she explained the whole thing, and then you went up and I mean, from the outside, I had no idea. You appeared confident. You were talking about your brand. I was like, oh, marketing. Okay, that sounds like it's going to be a lot of money. I don't know if I could do marketing.
Fair enough, fair enough, fair enough.
It goes back again to what we talked about last time. In our mind, sometimes we perceive an event a particular way, but to other people, they don't even know what you're talking about, right? Like, what are you saying you were embarrassed or you were shy? Because you weren't killing it.
I was freaking out. That was one of the hardest things for me to get through. I'm not a good public speaker at all, but it's something I want to, force myself into. I mean, like, as a branding person, there's a big branding marketing guy on social media you may have heard of. His name is Gary V, and he does a lot of public speaking events, kind of talking to business owners, talking to just young people who are trying to grow or be an entrepreneur, stuff like that. Not even if you want to start a business, but just kind of help growing yourself, chasing goals in general. And either way, I'm sure that gets him tons of clients. I mean, he can make so much content out of it. And I'm not even looking at it in a monetary way, but like, it is very helpful to do as well, while also, helping people, inspiring people. I don't know. It's something I would like to do, kind of, but you got to work towards it.
But it sounds though, Isaiah, like you're already trying your best to build the skills required to even fall into that role, because you've been putting yourself in situations where you have to be in the spotlight, like on your own social media page, and creating these opportunities, even coming on the podcast and sharing all the things, right? Like, so every time that you step out of your comfort zone and you push yourself to continue to harness this craft of public speaking, you get a step closer to being Gary Vee, but the Isaiah version,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah.
But I guess even with that being said now, so I'm wondering, where do you find your inspiration, Isaiah? Where does that come from for you?
I mean, I think it's just my inspirations from, wanting to reach my goals. And I think we talked about it last time. It's all the things I want to enjoy, cars, going outdoors, blah, blah, blah. But, being able to be with my family as well. So it's just the want for those goals. And it's finally caught up to me, because it's something, I mean, I'm sure everybody wants, but I finally hit that breaking point, I guess. And some people don't. Some people, become comfortable, or some people just think it may be too hard, stuff like that. But I finally hit that breaking point. It was like, all right, we gotta go for it. If we don't reach it, we don't reach it, but at least I'll just say I tried.
Do you feel like you're getting closer to that goal? Like, do you see, because, sometimes I think, especially when you're a business owner, when you don't see the return coming in as quickly as you'd like, it's so easy to be like, you know what? Forget it, I'm not going.
Yeah. And it feels like you're going backwards. It's just
Yes.
like, it does feel like I am going forward. It just is very hard to realize. And just like you were saying, it's one of those situations where you expect so much right away, maybe, or just like you want to see different results than what you initially got. And it demotivates you pretty heavily. But no, I think I'm slowly growing one day at a time. And then, some days, some weeks, some months feel amazing, and some are just like bland and bleak. So you just gotta, from the marketer's perspective, you gotta look at the long term. If you've gone up even a little bit, I mean, you've got a positive, like, you've got a good campaign. So
when you have those moments where it feels like you're not going up, what keeps you pushing through?
Those goals, I've wanted it and everything, but also, like, I do, and I don't remember if we talked about this either, but I do a daily journal, and just going back on what I've learned, my ups, my downs, blah, 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 has really kept me in line, basically. You see when you were down, and you can look at that and be like, all right, well, I know what fixed it. I know what changed this, what changed that. And continue on. Use your learnings and continue with it.
It's interesting that you talked about the trajectory, right, of your, I guess, of your business or whatever it is that you're going to do, because I always talk to my clients about like the micro versus the macro, right? And if we're just examining the micro, all we're looking at sometimes is the dip. But if we zoom out, we'll see that there were dips and then up and then dips and then up and then
Exactly.
So if we're at a dip, this is exciting because guess what's coming next?
Yeah. Back
Right?
up.
It's going to be so, when we focus too much on where we are just in this moment, not realizing that this is just a moment and this moment is going to pass like any other moment. And now we have enough information, we've lived life enough to know that there will be another opportunity to rebound and to keep going. And it's all a part of the process. Like there is no, even if you look at the stock market, stocks are always going down and up, right? Like it's part of the process. Even if we're looking at Apple stock, even if we're looking at Home Depot, all of these things have times where they go down a little or they go down a lot, right? But then they always end up shooting back up. So again, it's so important to look at patterns, right? Even going back to this ridiculous book that I love about trees, it talks about this particular tree that drops all of its leaves during winter. And in fact, you would probably think that this particular tree is dead because what happens is it lays dormant until spring. And we all have seasons like that. Some seasons we're dormant. We're like, there are no leaves on this tree.
Exactly. Yeah. And it happens. And what I think too is like you see all these, like, I'm trying to think of an example, but like these giant brands that may have, died years ago, and a lot of them are coming back. Sure, not all of them, but like it's just because they kept trying. They're staying consistent. So it's like you said, it's that stock market. They can have downs and ups, and some of these big brands might not ever reach that up again, but they're coming back up compared to their down. I mean, that's progress again. So, and maybe they do reach that point. You just got to keep trying.
But that's the thing. If you don't try, then you never know your potential, right? Even, for example, when we're thinking about it from a marketing perspective, look at what's happening with Gap. Gap saw this wonderful opportunity of what fell through with, what was it? Was it American Eagle?
I can't remember, to be honest.
I forget the other jean company, but the other jean company that did a ridiculous, terrible, horrible job of marketing their particular jeans, and the Gap saw an opportunity, a missed opportunity, capitalized on it, and now Gap is back in competition, probably better than it's been in years, all because they saw this opportunity. And I think that's just it, Isaiah, right? Like, if we're paying attention, there are always little opportunities that we can jump in and say, wait a minute, this is my chance.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Yeah,
Here's the microphone, Isaiah. Here's your chance.
It's the time. And you just got to take it. You can't be scared. I mean, you can be, but like as long as you still do it, it's better than not doing it at all. So
that's it. So as we wrap up now, Isaiah, what is a belief that you hold that you think many people may not agree with, but that you know to be true because of the life that you've lived?
Taking a chill pill with a lot of things can make life so much easier for a lot of people. You can react negatively to something, but if you let it, ruin your whole day, then, now the whole day is ruined. But if you just reacted to it at that moment, like, oh, that sucks. All right, now let's continue on to the next thing. Now you've been productive and you've handled a bad situation without it ruining your entire day. So same deal for, I don't know, life problems or political events, blah, blah, blah. Like, relax a little, take a step back, review it, and make it easier on yourself,
Yeah, it's all about the way that you decide to handle it. Either you can make it, there can be a terrible situation and you can say, wow, like you said, this sucks. And I guess this was a time to pivot. Let's pivot.
Yeah.
Here we go. Right?
Yeah.
Because we don't have a choice. There's no choice.
Yeah.
I mean, well, why? We always have choices.
Yeah, the choice could be sit there and suck it up and just have a terrible day forever. But no, who wants that? I mean, some people do it. A lot of people do it, but who wants that? No, that sucks.
Serves no purpose, right?
Exactly.
So it's so much better to acknowledge that maybe there's a terrible situation and that it sucks. Then I think the part of it is, and this is something that I talk to my clients about all the time, especially people who deal with depression. There's a moment where you can either jump in the hole that you essentially like dug and lay on your back and be like, oh, this is terrible.
Yeah.
Right? Or you can like be in the hole of depression and be standing up like, oh shit, this sucks. Okay.
Yeah.
How do I need to get out of this hole?
Exactly. Yeah.
Right? But you get to choose. Are you on your back staring up at the sky screaming? Or are you standing up trying to figure out how the hell to get out of it? And I think that that's also, what you're saying about life is that we get to choose. And although sometimes things are really bad and it feels horrible, but we still get to choose what we do with it.
Yeah, exactly.
So Isaiah, in leaving, the last question I'm going to ask you is, in your perspective, with the life that you've lived this far, what would you say for you is the secret to life?
I'll stick with my goals from before is just, staying active, staying with your family, or just being with family as much as you can be, and go outdoors. For me, the outdoors changes everything. If I'm having a terrible day, I just go outside, and it's proven the sun does help, but just going outdoors, it could be nighttime. I don't care. And it's still like a relaxer for me. I'll be in the middle of the woods. I don't do this very often, but I could be in the middle of the woods at night and just feel like, wow, it's kind of cool out here. But yeah.
But you're so right, Isaiah. There is so much research out there that talks about the importance of, and again, going back to my clients, this is something I tell my clients all the time. I can tell whether or not they have been outside based on their depression and their anxiety. And every time I say to a client who's in the hole laying on their back, I'll say, when's the last time you were outside? And they'll usually say like, well, it's been a couple of weeks. And I'll be like, no, ma'am, we're going outside right now. We are going outside right now.
Step
right
one.
Now. You and I outside right now. Because there's so much research that shows something as simple as someone in a hospital, if you are in the bed that is closer to the window versus the other person who's closer to like the door, who's the in part of the hospital, do you know that the recovery time is twice as quick for the person by the window? Simply because of the sun penetrating through the window. Right?
Scary, but also like, good to know. Like, stay outside, stay in the sun.
I think we're creatures.
Yeah.
Right? We sometimes we think that we're so sophisticated.
Yeah. Gotta live in a building. Right. Shoot, people were living outside before all the houses and stuff like that. So, we started there, and that's where everything else is. So, can't be bad for you.
And it's actually very much good for you and necessary. But Isaiah, this has been such a pleasure. I am so grateful for your time. Thank you. And to all the incredible, amazing people who are watching, if you want to connect with Isaiah, please reach out to him. Isaiah, tell the people where they can find you.
Mainly on my social media accounts. So most of them are under Boosted Branding. And I think my Instagram is Boosted Branding LLC. We're going to have to fight whoever took the just Boosted Branding.
Amazing. So if you're looking for, and by the way, guys, if you have seen the intro to my podcast, Isaiah is the face behind it. So please, if you are excited about my intro and you like it, don't hesitate to reach out to Isaiah. And again, family, so grateful for you for tuning in. You can, as always, share this with family, with friends, if it resonated. And I would love to know you guys' opinion on when it comes to what keeps you going. What is it? go ahead and share it down in the comment section. I would love to hear what keeps you guys going. And as always, of course, you can subscribe, like, share, all the good stuff. Sending you so much love, family. Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.